special speaker here with us, Shri G.V.L. Satya Kumar, Managing Director, CRIS. And let's welcome Sir on the stage with a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon to you all. How many of you have already seen me speak in the last 1 year? Yeah. So that's a good beginning, I think. Yeah. I'm Satya Kumar, Managing Director, CRIS. How many of you heard of this organization called CRIS? Hardly maybe 10 hands. So let me just again ask you, how many of you know Indian Railways? Yeah. So CRIS is an organization called Center for Rail Information Systems. We are the IT arm of the Indian Railways. In fact, we are the sole IT arm, and we are actually vested with the responsibility of designing, developing, managing, deploying the entire ICT applications across the entire spectrum of functions of the railway. As an organization, we had our origins in 1986, and in the last 37 years, this organization has been catering to the requirements of Indian Railways. We started off with two main applications. One is on the ticketing side, which many of you know on the passenger reservation, and the second was on the freight operations, how we actually go about running off of freight operations. And in 1986, when we started with the ticketing system, it has evolved over the last 37 years, as many of you must have experienced. And most of you, I think, many of you, I think, are in the age bracket of at least 45 to 50 plus here. I can see you must have experienced how the ticketing system has evolved over the years. When we started in 1986, we had something called a data center-oriented ticketing, which could actually cater to ticketing being organized only from a region. We had 4 data centers, one at Mumbai, Chennai, Calcutta, and Delhi. So if you wanted to travel from, say, Chennai to Amritsar, you couldn't take a ticket directly. You could take perhaps a ticket from Chennai to Trivandrum. So later, within 4 to 5 years, we meshed the data centers with total redundancy, and anywhere to anywhere ticketing started somewhere in 1990s. And thereon, web ticketing and now mobile ticketing, which you see is actually the backbone of the Indian Railway. We issue almost 25,000 tickets per minute, and out of which 85% is now on either web or mobile ticketing mode. While we started with these two applications, in fact, these were the only two applications which were there for the first 2 decades for the Indian Railways. Thereafter, in the last 2 decades, starting from, say, around 2005 or so, till today, there is absolutely no function of the railway which is not getting captured into a back-end database. And we categorize the applications on the railways in the following major categories. One is on the market and business development side, the second on the operations, the third on the asset management, fourth is on the capacity expansion and development, and the other common pillars of finance, HR, procurement. And as we stand today, in all these functions, all the operations on the railways have been digitized. There's absolutely no function which is not getting captured, as I mentioned, into a back-end database. So having said that, the evolution in the last 4 decades has both strengths and weaknesses. The greatest strength has been that all these applications have been developed in-house. We never had a consultant do the software development for us. And this has been a strength because I mentioned to you about the evolution of the passenger ticketing system. It has been a seamless change from any change request you have. So this has been the strength. We have almost around 950 plus software engineers who are regular employees of CRIS, who form the backbone for this 180 plus applications which we run across the entire functions of the railway for catering to its requirement. While we evolved over the years, in almost like a siloed manner. The challenge now for Indian Railways and for CRIS is to get the integration across this application through in a seamless manner. And another great challenge before us is the way in which data acquisition is taking place. Data acquisition, which used to be mostly on a manual mode, now in all the functions, it is almost become real-time online, especially on our assets. And when we talk about asset applications in terms of, we categorize in terms of the fixed infrastructure and the rolling infrastructure. For the fixed infrastructure like track, signal, traction, the entire asset life cycle, right from the induction till it is condemned, through the cycles of repairs and maintenance and overhauls, is all these applications have been developed. But the fundamental difference in the last few years is how the data is being acquired through various sensors and IoT devices which are coming in a big manner. So as we stand today, take the track, for example, we have oscillation monitoring system, the track recording cards, ultrasonic flaw detection systems, which continually on a real time give us information about the asset. Similarly, when a wagon or a coach moves alongside the track, the signature of the acoustics between the wagon and the rail, these are captured and getting into a database for analysis and further intervention depending upon the gradation or the gravity of the signature. And recently, we have opened a mega tender for putting GPS trackers on all our 3.5 lakh wagons. Again, 6 lakh cameras would be installed in all our locomotives, 15,000 of them, and 60,000 coaches. For this, again, an RFP has been issued, and the tenders are under evaluation, and we could expect the work to be completed at least by next year mid. So with all this data coming in, the greatest challenge for us is to get these data which is coming in a real time and get it onto a common platform and then make use of that for the cross-functional use of the railways. So this is where we stand today. I mean, I briefly mentioned to you about the main applications, which are the ticketing, which the customer interface makes, along with the Rail Madad, which is again an application which is used by the customers for any grievances as well as giving suggestions to the railways. But railway is not just that. I mean, in the back end, the railway runs on our 60,000 coaches, our 15,000 locomotives, 70,000 track kilometers, and we carry the freight of almost 4.3 million tons per day, 20 million passengers per day. So this volume is actually transacted and carried out on a day through a system which is a vertically integrated organization with a single management, which runs on the backbone of the ICT applications which are developed by this organization called Center for Rail Information Systems. Having said that, just to give you a brief overview of the infrastructure we maintain, we have 5 data centers with 1 disaster recovery system in Secunderabad. We have almost around 13,000 servers catering to all these 180 plus applications, which is highly networked with redundancy. And we have internet and mobile applications, which again require a separate architecture in terms of having the firewalls, intrusion prevention systems, the WAPs, the SLBs, which are totally different from the architecture which is to be run for the discrete type of systems which run on leased lines and optical fibers. Last but not the least, challenge for us when you are going ahead is on cyber security. Originally and traditionally, we have always been very strong in terms of protecting our network systems. But of late, and amongst the entire spectrum of the ICT, starting from the application, the middleware, the hardware, coming to the network and the endpoints, the vulnerabilities and the threats are increasing rapidly. So here, it is a challenge for us, but recently we have floated an RFP for the Security Operations Center for the Indian Railway for taking into account almost the 3 lakh endpoints up to the spectrums which I mentioned right from the application up to the endpoints. And I'm sure that with all these enhancements which are in place, the citizens of the country would benefit from the railways. And just to give you another statistics, I mentioned a figure of 25,000 tickets per minute. We are in the midst of modernizing our passenger reservation system, which is being overhauled completely. In fact, the hardware is in place and the applications are being rolled out, wherein we would be taking the capacity of ticketing from 25,000 to almost 1.8 lakh tickets per minute. And this would be commissioned not later than next April, that is April 25. So with this, I wish the conference well, and I just wanted to give a brief insight as to what are the digital initiatives that are being taken by the Indian Railways, especially from the ICT front, and wish the conference well. Thank you.